102. There you go, 0.98. .07. 0.96. There was a wasp out there wondering what in the world it was that just came by. By the way, that was 1.14. That was way off. Hey guys, Abner Miranda here. Welcome out to the range. The reason that we are doing this video is because I wanted to cover the varying levels of gripping force that go into using a handgun. Of course, now I've got to turn my camera back on because I've got to show you something. When people are actually, just watch my hands and you'll probably spot it. What am I doing? You guys are spotting it, right? See what I'm doing? Every time I shoot, I'm doing this. This is something that I see all the time in the training environment. Guys will, it's this. And I see it and I go, what's that about? You can do the same thing by doing this. Of course I ran out of ammo because I was trying to make a point. There's less of this going on. I really believe that the problem there is actually in the support hand. I spend a lot of time video editing, as you guys know, so I spend a lot of time watching people's hands because, most especially when I was a photographer, when I was writing for gun magazines, you wanted to capture that money shot where the weapon was in cycle, the trigger had been pulled, the round had been fired, the muzzle blast, that little bit of spark or brass shavings that fly out of the chamber. If you look at my logo, you'll actually see particulate matter actually coming out of the chamber as the weapon is in recoil, and that was actually by design. So the point of it is this: I'm always watching people's hands, whether it be on a rifle or whether it be on a handgun, and in so doing, what I have found is there's a lot of this type of thing that goes on when people are moving with their gun. They take the shot and they go like this. And it's like this constant, like they literally end up hanging on to the gun like this. And then they go back and then it whoop, whoop. And I realized there really is a massive set of variables that go into how much holding you're doing of that gun when you're moving around, whether it be rifle, handgun, shotgun, doesn't matter. We're always gripping, releasing, gripping, releasing. Where this really became relevant for me was back in December of 2020. I went to a class at Valor Ridge and we were doing a lot of entry. And whenever I would be the number 2 man through the door, the point man would go through, the number 2 man has to body check that door to clear that corner before he comes up. And I found myself body checking the doors really hard. And the day after the class, honestly, that night on the way home, man, my hands were hurting. And I kept going, what is going on? And I finally was like, oh, I know what's going on. I've been doing this so hard on that rifle and or handgun that I was actually causing, I was stressing the arms and the hands. And then 2 days after the class, each and every finger developed these very, very slight tender spots on the edges of all the nails where the nails met the meat of the finger, and each one turned red and became a little inflamed. And I realized what was going on was I'd been squeezing and releasing, squeezing and releasing, squeezing and releasing. And what's the point of why I'm bringing this up to you? Well, here's why. Because when a person is moving with a handgun and we see security camera footage or body cam footage, and you go, why did that guy let why'd that officer or that citizen allow that bad guy to get that gun from them? Because they weren't holding it with a death grip at that particular moment. When you are shooting here, I've got an absolute death grip on this gun. I mean, I'm squeezing the snot because I need to make sure that I'm controlling, watch the recoil on this. It's almost none, right? Because I'm controlling this gun. On both sides of my gun, I have little ledges that are cut into it. I actually, you can see here, I squared off the body. I actually made very, very sharp right angles on this Glock with a Dremel. And then I stippled them very, very fine. Because what I want to make sure that I get is as much control over the front end of the gun so that when I'm shooting, this gun isn't doing this in my hands. I have all the control over the gun because I'm actually shelving right there. I don't run a pistol light. My light is here. It's here, it's here, it's here, it's here. I don't run pistol lights on my handguns. I have videos on this. I don't want to cover it right now. I choose not to run a pistol light. Moving on. So the reason I'm saying that is the pistol light gives you something to shelf into. Most especially if you've got big hands like mine and you can get your thumb all the way forward, you can shelf right into that light and boom, it's beautiful. You've got something to hang on to and push the front end of that gun. Well, I lose that when I don't run a pistol light. So I had to then create it in the frame. And I did right there, and it is beautiful because the recoil is nil, which allows me to visually track my front side post through the entire cycle. Well, what that translates to is I've got a death grip on the gun, and then when I go to move with the gun, like for example, if I'm doing some of the drills from Dave Spalding where there's a lot of movement, you fire, and then you immediately break out and you start running. And in the run, the gun, for me, is going to be here. I don't like to run with the gun low. I sure as heck I'm not going to do this thing. I prefer to have the gun in a position where I can see it, where I can keep track of it, and where I can move both arms for pumping, for running. And when I'm doing this, I don't have the same death grip that is required for shooting. I have a strong grip on the gun because I don't want to just drop the handgun. But then when you're searching, your brain, remember guys, I see this all the time because I'm always going through video. And then when you're searching, for example, like let's say you're in low light and you're searching, or you're opening the door and then you're backing up, or you're moving through a space, you don't have a death grip on this gun. It's not that you should, it's just that mechanically you don't. Biomechanically, you don't have a death grip on that gun. And it's at that moment where the bad guy can get it from you. And guess what? I don't have a solution for you. I'm not going to stand in front of this camera and tell you that I have a solution for you because I actually don't. But what I can tell you is that it is inherent in all human beings. We tend to hold on to things tighter than others. The most simple thing I can give you is this in closing. Next time you're sweeping with a shot broom, you know, the popping effect when that allows you to push all that debris without aerosolizing it through the air. As you're popping that broom and you're moving forward and you're moving that pile of junk with you, you've got a good grip. But between each cycle, you're actually going like this in a very minute fashion. I see it all the time on rifles, guys. Guys will come up and they'll shoot, and the arms, the musculature of the arm will flex and then relax. Flex and relax, flex and relax. It's really cool to watch, especially when you do slow motion with these cameras. So it's really neat, and it's made me very aware of how I move with my weapons, and I have to constantly, now I'm actually conscious of making sure that I'm tracking the position of my firearm when I'm moving with it, which is why if I'm moving in a very tight space, it's indexed here. If I'm running with it, it's indexed here, and my trigger finger is over the top of it, so that if there's a bang and my hands consolidate and contract, which is what our fingers actually do. Remember, our fingers don't go like, I can't even do it. Our fingers don't go like this, right? Our fingers go like this. See, they're no longer apart, are they? They're together. Why? Because they consolidated while contracting. Well, if there's a loud bang and my finger is here, or even here, and I go to consolidate and contract, I could potentially consolidate and contract and crack off a round. And if I'm pointed toward myself, I could hurt myself or kill myself. So my finger goes here, but it's also twofold. This finger is actually driving the gun into my hand. I actually, when I do this, when I move, I will feel this portion right here on my middle finger get worn out, which is why I contoured the frame of my Glock with a Dremel. I did all the framework on this Glock. Doug Presson did the slide work, and this Glock is, you be quiet. And this Glock and I are best buddies, buddy. I have cases of ammo through this Glock, and I love it. It's such a fun gun to shoot. It's a very accurate gun to shoot. Let's hope I make it. That's right. And on that note, I'm gonna let y'all go. Have a good one. As always, God bless you all. Get those guns out and practice. Have a good one. Let's do that again. Just for fun. I love that long shot. Whee!